Hello, everyone, and good morning for those of you who are in the morning time zone. Today is November 7th, which marks a month exactly from October 7th. And we are getting together in the morning for our daily lives to refocus on our business in times of war. Now, it seems a little bit off, right, to talk about business in a day where we're just realizing we're continuing to realizing what happened a month ago and what is continuing to happen every day. But I'm here because this is what I promised that I would do for people that need to continue with their businesses, that need to continue selling, that need to continue having an income. And as we spoke many times in those daily lives, the economy front is another war front. People need to continue to have an income, especially in Israel. Women that have husbands as reservists, that have businesses, that have kids at home. This is who I'm supporting, and this is why I'm showing up every day at 10. And I know everyone is doing what they can. Some people are going to help, in the field. Some people are going in schools. Some people are going into hotels where all the people that have been evacuated from the north and the south, and they're helping them there. Some people are preparing food. Some people are sending clothes. Everyone, I think, is really focusing. Some people are writing posts and being activists on social media. And I think that it's important for everyone, at least in Israel, but also around the world. I hear so many initiatives of people that are donating money and that are doing things for Israel, but also for the Jews around the world who are also in a state of fear and anxiety with all the anti-Semitic attacks that are happening. And so I'm going to repeat one more time, and I think I said it every day, but I think it's very, very important to really listen to yourself, to see what are you ready to do, what is your priority. We're not here to tell you to go back work in your business or on your business, because that is only a decision that you can make. But if you are ready, and if you want to refocus on your business, I'm here to give you tips and tools and structure and frameworks and mindsets so that you can give yourself the permission to do that. On Sunday, we had our SPD, or strategic planning day, that we have usually every 3 months. But this time we had to postpone it because people were not available to look at their months, at their quarters, at their next quarter, to look at our financial projections, to look at our priority projects. And two things came out, and that's what I want to talk about today. Two things came out very strongly, and I think that I hear that from a lot of other entrepreneurs. One was the guilt to work on your business. Some people are ready to work on their business, but they feel guilty because they feel like there's so much more happening out there. How can I now focus on my business? And I want to give you that permission, especially if your livelihood depends on it. Again, if you have savings, or if you don't need to bring money in the next few months and you want to dedicate yourself to the cause, it's really your choice, as long as you know where you are financially. And if you can afford it, then it's really a decision of managing your priorities, the way you see fit, right? But if your livelihood depends on your business, and if you need to pay the bills at the end of the month, then it's not even a question whether or not you're allowed to focus on your business, is you have to. Because if not, then you're going to become yourself someone who needs help, and then you're going to become a burden more than a resource, to be able to help others. So we have to start by helping ourselves. And this is not being selfish. I'm not saying without empathy and without caring and without taking a part of our time where we help others. But if we don't take care of ourselves, and if we don't do what we need to do in order to bring the revenue that we need to bring, then again, not only no one is going to do it for us, but again, then we're going to become a reason for other people to help us, and we're going to be added to the list of the people that need help. And that is not being very constructive, right? This is, if you want to help, you have to have where to help from. You have to have that resource inside, or or that assurance that you are in a safe place in order for you to be able to help others. So today, and I said two things. So one was the guilt that I felt from some entrepreneurs, especially women, I have to say, that are, again, feeling guilty for working on their business. And again, it is really weird, because you hear so many horrible things, and you are witnessing so much pain and suffering. And sitting down at your desk working on your business may seem like so futile and so, not important. And yet, if this is what you have to do to keep yourself, to allow yourself to pay your bills, then you are part of the war front, especially if you're in Israel, because you don't want to add again to the economy problem. The second thing that I hear a lot from entrepreneurs is people that say, am I allowed to dream big again? I had big dreams. I had big goals before the war. I was already on my track. Everyone says that, of course, after the holidays, I was, there were the summer, and then school started, and then the holidays, and I was ready after the holidays to really start big and to start my plan or my projects, or I was really ready to start my big dream. For some people, this was really the time that they were ready to do something in their business. And now that the war has happened, they feel like, do I continue my dream? Do I not continue it? Like, is it relevant? And I'm here to tell you that not only you're allowed, but you have to. And this is how we do it, like the other way around, right? On Sundays, I come with a live update on leadership. I decided to speak about Jewish leadership because this is what the global network is focusing on. But leadership means that the resilience that you are showing by going through such a horrible thing and turning it into something even bigger. So not only you're allowed to dream, but what is happening is going to make you even more aware and more acute and more have more clarity on where to take that dream. And I saw that on myself with a conference, right? On January 21st, 2024, we were planning a conference, and we've been planning it for months already, and everything was ready. And then the war happens, and you're like, okay, is there going to be a conference? Do we ask people to come from abroad? Do we even talk about the topics that we wanted to talk about? And then we looked at the content of the conference, which was about leadership, about Jewish leadership, about feminine leadership, about Jewish identity, about leadership in our business, about what it means to be a Jewish woman entrepreneur today in Israel or around the world. How do we create connections and bridges between all of us, in this sisterhood? And then we realized that it was not only that we had to do the conference, but it was exactly the topics that people need to hear, and people need to think about, and people need to connect to their Jewish identity, remind ourselves, what does it mean to be a leader? And so I would invite you to revisit your dream in order to see how what happened is making it even more sharp, or even more aligned with what you really wanted to do. Because very often we don't realize that everything that we did until now is getting us ready for the time that we're in now. And that, at least for the conference, that's what I feel very strongly. Now, let's go back to the daily lives. This is an important introduction, because it is setting up the context in which we are going to talk about in our daily life number 8. Again, I like to remind what we did every day, because there is a structure and there is an order of doing things. And I've started daily life number 1 I started with the foundation, with us in the center, and then going slowly each day outside of the center. So it's very hard to refocus on the beginning. And day one, we spoke about time management, about how to manage our priorities, how to create blocks of times in our day, how to look at our day as a project, and to include at least one block of time for our business, whether it's thinking about it, doing our, trying to talk to our clients, whatever it is, but having 1 hour, at least one block of time, could be 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you can, in your times in your day every day. Day number two, we spoke about self-care. And again, we're talking really about you in the center. The first thing is your time. And the second thing is self-care. How do you take care of yourself? How do you eat properly? How do you sleep properly? How do you exercise? That's also, if you don't do that, then you can't even focus on your business. Day number three, we spoke about routines. And that is, how do you structure your day so that something has some kind of structure and that you feel some kind of control over what is happening. Even if you can't do anything outside of your day, then at least you have the control of. And I know it may seem really far off to speak about routines right now because everything is like all over the place, but this is how you start from yourself to bring some kind of order and structure. On day number four, we spoke about checking on the people in your circles of influence, specifically business, because I know that the personal ones you're going to do, by yourself, your friends and families, that of course you need to check in. But the people that are around you or that were around you in the past in your business, you also have to check in. So check out the video, the recording on day number four to know how to speak to people around you. Day five, and again, we're going from your own circle to bigger. We spoke about social media, how to position yourself on social media, where social media is a tool where you express yourself and your ideas, but it's also a tool that you use to sell and to promote yourself. So we spoke about that. Day six, we spoke about the reality check with your finances, how to really take the time to look into your finances, to know where you are, whatever the news is. It's a way for you not to give in to the big fear of, there's no money, there's no client, all those big general comments that we need to check. What does it mean there's no money? How much money is no money? How much money do I need for the next 2 months? How many clients do I need to get me that money? So very, very important to have clarity around the finances. Doesn't mean you have all the solutions, but at least you have the right questions. Day number 7, which was yesterday, we spoke about the difference between money generating activities and exponential growth activities. So yesterday was the money generating activities, and today we're going to talk about the exponential growth activities. So just to remind you, the money generating activities are the activities that you do in your business that have results in the short term, that are more sales oriented, that are going to bring you money faster, that are going to be the activities that are going to make you close sales, faster. So it's short term, it's selling what you already have, it's being in touch with the people that you already have been in touch with, it's reconnecting with people that already know, like, and trust you. The money generating activities, even if they're not 100% aligned with your new strategy, or even if they're not, an example of what you want to do in the future, there are still the activities that are going to bring you the money right now. So even when you make a shift in strategy, which is what we're going to talk about in the exponential growth activities, the EGAs, to go fast, we call MGA, money generating activities, and EGA, exponential growth activities. So sometimes, and especially in times like this, you start thinking of changing your positioning, changing your offering, changing your strategy, changing your target market. There are a lot of questions that arises because this is a situation where you have to think from scratch. What are we going to do? And that is okay. And that's the exponential growth activities. And you need to have some of those in your blocks of times in your day or in your week. However, while you do this, it's very, very tempting to stop doing everything you do in your business and just say, okay, I'm just going to focus on my new strategy. So take, for example, a restaurant, right? A restaurant who wants to change the menu. and wants to start with a new menu, this restaurant owner is not going to close their restaurant for 3 months until they have a new menu. They're going to continue serving the existing menu, even if they already know that they're changing the menu, and they're going to slowly manage the transition towards the new menu. So it could be that they're going to buy new different product, or they're going to hire different people that are going to be in the kitchen, or they're going to make changes in the decoration. They can do a lot of things, but they won't be able to close for 3 months until they have the new facility or the new menu or the new place. And so, what I say, they won't be able. Usually, people are not able to stop making money while they think of a new strategy. If you have that possibility and you decide strategically to stop everything you're doing in order to focus on a new strategy, if financially you can afford it, it could be a decision that you make that for the next 2 months, I'm only going to focus on my strategy. But I don't recommend it, because you still need to be present for your target market, for the people that are following you, for your existing clients, for your past clients. And so you don't want to cut. Of course, for us, it's difficult as entrepreneurs, because we feel that either I'm focusing on selling or I'm focusing on a new model or a new strategy. But the truth is that we have to do both at the same time. So I speak a lot about the hats, right? So when you are on MGA mode, which is continuing to sell what you've been selling and finding the people that are already connected to you. So yesterday we had a question from a real estate agent who said, no one wants to buy an apartment. And I invited her to shift that mindset and saying, don't go with no one, because that's a general statement. You can't do anything with that. Go with the ones that still need to buy an apartment for whatever reason. So yes, it's true. In general, during wartime, people are not available to buy apartments. But you don't need people. You need one. And so it's about going back to the contacts that you had before. It's about following up with people that you were already in touch before the war. It's about making new strategic partnership with people. You might, there are people that will have to do things last minute. They might have lost someone. They might have, need to move in a different place. So they are quote unquote opportunities. I don't like to call them opportunities, because of course it's a war, and we don't want to look at it as an opportunity. But again, you don't need a whole market trend. You need this one person who is going to need what you have. And so when you shift your mindset, you're not going to have a whole marketing strategy with a whole messaging on something that is not working. Let's say buy an apartment. You're not going to come out with a campaign to buy an apartment now, because it's going to fall on deaf ear. So it's not going to work. However, if you go back to your calendar, to your phone, to your messages, to the people that contacted you in the past, to the leads that you had, to the strategic partners that are talking to the same people that you speak to, for example, a lawyer, a real estate lawyer, or another agency that you can work out a strategic partnership. So those are the types of activities that are going to seem less grandiose and less, wow, I'm making a big campaign, but more like money generating activities, more like connecting to the people who are closer to buy, and that you have to be on a one-on-one connection with, and building that relationship, rather than posting on social media or sending out newsletters, which is not really a money generating activities, but more an exposure, like an exponential, an EGA, exponential growth activity, because you're increasing your exposure, but you're not necessarily having people that buy or click or contact you. Okay, so in order to understand the difference between EGA and MGA, and to know that we need both, it's easier to look at it from short term and long term. I need to continue to do everything I'm doing on short term while I'm still already thinking of what I'm going to need to do for the long term. So if, for example, this war has been a wake-up call that you need to either go online, because it's easier to go global when you're online, or to do groups instead of one-on-ones, or to change the product that you're selling, or to change your offer, or to change your target market, to say, I don't want to sell only in Israel. I also want to sell around the world, because I know here's what happens when I'm only selling in Israel. So All these questions are very valid questions. And the question is not, should I continue to do what I do or should I change? You should do both. You should continue to do what you do because this is where you're the most ready to sell, because you don't need to recreate an offer. You already have prices, you already have clients, you already have an offer. And so you need to find a way to continue selling as much as possible. Of course, every industry is different. And if you're in tourism, for example, I have a client who is in tourism and everything might be falling apart, but it might be the time for you to put on the side some time on EGA, which is exponential growth activities, where you start thinking about, how do I take my expertise and change it into a different strategy? How do I adapt my offering? How do I change my target market? How do I change my business model? All those questions are strategy questions, and you want to have blocks of time where you think about those, but it doesn't mean that you don't have those other blocks of time where you continue to see how you can make money or how you can create strategic partnership with people that already know you. So it's very different types of activities. And the challenge is always going from one to the other, because on the one hand, in the exponential growth activities, we need to really broaden our perspective, take a step back, look at the whole picture, look at the industry, look at our offering, have our strategic mind, look at our dream, align, what we want to do with our dream. So it's really thinking big. And that's what usually we like to do as entrepreneurs. And the money generating activities is thinking very, very small, very specific, following up with this person, picking up the phone and calling that strategic partner, continuing a conversation that you had before. So it's one email, one phone call, one message. It's not going to be a big strategic change, but it's going to be much more, on an individual basis. Where are the people that are ready to buy from you? And that is the shift that we have a hard time doing as an entrepreneur. It's going from the big picture to the small one follow-up or two phone calls or three emails that I have to send. And also we have a hard time, if we feel that our strategy needs to shift, we have a hard time continuing with our past offer since we already know we want to change. But this is where we want to look at the CAP, at the hat theory. This helps you, the hat framework. It's really to say, okay, now I'm on sales mode. Sales mode means I'm looking for where the money is and where my next deal is and how can I make money. This is my sales mode. And it could be that I can't. And, then I have to think of different ways. But whatever, going to really like sales, like where are the people who are ready to buy from me? That is my sales mode. And on the other hand, I want to have my strategy brain. That is, how do I shift from what I've been doing to something that either is more aligned or is going to be more profitable? And I continue to evolve and fine tune, whether I change completely activity or I fine tune my offer or I fine tune my strategy. So this is about EGA and MGA. It's very, very acute when we are in times of war, because it's or very insecure times, because it's very extreme. Like we really need the money and we really need to think about our strategy, right? It goes both together and it's at the same time. And so it's very hard to find the balance between the two. But working on that muscle of I need to take care of my short term and my long term at the same time is going to be very beneficial for you in your business, because this is what CEOs do. Even CEOs of big corporate, like they have to take care of the day-to-day activities of the company, and they also have to look at the vision, and they also have to be, sure of where they're going and making the changes. So I know it's hard now to do that, but one way that you'll find to do it is to, again, block time in your calendar and call those blocks. That's what I do. I call it MGA and EGA. Like I have a block of MGA and a block of EGA. Now, because of the war and because of everything that's happening, it could be that your EGA is going to be bigger. Yesterday, I spoke about the fact that when you're launching and growing your business, your EGAs should be only 20% of your time, because you need to spend 80% of your time making money. When you get to the scaling stage, those numbers change. You can have 30 to 40% EGA, because hopefully you already have systems in place to sell, or you have a team, or it's already like something that's running. And so the 60% of your time is to manage the sales process that's already existing. And the 40% is really to be the CEO and look at the vision and look at the long term. So it could be that when you are in times of war, those numbers are not, you don't necessarily have to be scaling, but you can be deciding, I'm going to spend 50% of my time with EGAs and 50% of my time with MGA. That's why we did the finances before. We did the finances before because depending on how much money you need and how many clients you need, you're going to have to decide how much MGA you're going to have to do before you can focus on the long-term strategy. And then it's about having a plan. Once you know where you want to go, it's reverse engineering to today and say, okay, if that's my new EGA, my new strategy, then what do I need to do today, tomorrow, this week, next week to get there in that amount of time, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, but it's always going to be a long-term project. I hope that this is helpful. I know it's a lot of content. I'm trying to give you a lot of content in a very short amount of time. And it's also hard to speak in general terms because you probably have questions on your specific business. And if you tag me, I'm happy to answer your questions like in your specific case with your specific industry or business. Those are very generic business principles that I hope are giving you a different perspective or are making you think differently. But if you need to adapt this to your business, then tag me, whether it's on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook. We're streaming those lives in all those platforms, so I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And we'll continue tomorrow on day 9 of our daily lives to speak about the different EGAs, the different new strategies that you can implement in your business if you feel that you have to shift something in your business because of the war or in general. Now, I want to remind you that we also have today at 6, we have an interview in our podcast, the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs and Leaders podcast, in our special Support Israel series, where I'm going to invite 2 women to speak about an initiative on how to hire more Israeli women. And that is going to be really fascinating. So you don't want to miss that. Either they're live at 6 p.m. Israel time, or watch the recording or the podcast when it's uploaded. And then tomorrow we also have, we have our daily live at 10. And then at 8 p.m. we have our weekly support meetup that's happening. And so don't forget to register to that as well. We'll have experts that will help you. I will be there also to help you answer any questions on business, and you'll be able to network with other women from everywhere in the world. So I think that this is really what we need right now to connect with other people. So until then, wishing you a good day as much as possible. I know that we're not really having good days, but at least, stay safe. And I will see you in our next live.